You know what I just noticed? Jamie Lannister is Darth Vader. Wait. I know what you're going to say. Isn't Jamie Lannister Luke Skywalker? First of all, no, he is most definitely not the protagonist of this story. And second of all, he's actually some of the best and worst qualities of Vader. And the redemption arc.
And welcome back to the heart of the stories we tell. I'm Rob, the host, and this is another look deep into what makes a story, a theory on storytelling by a storyteller who believes that every story has merit. And tonight's episode is...
Okay, so this isn't quite a theory video, and it's not quite a character portrait. But Jamie Lannister is Darth Vader. When you look at stories, characters fill the same roles over and over again. That's why people say there's only so many stories to tell. But those roles are pretty important. In this case, as I rewatched Season 1 of Game of Thrones, I realized that with all my other theories going, this one might be the one that gets the most traction. But before I get into it, if this is your first time here, what I do here is I review stories, I come up with theories on how and why we tell stories, and I dig deep into types of characters that we do. That's what this is. And a theory video. If that sounds interesting to you, click subscribe, because sooner or later Game of Thrones content is coming. Now, when I originally watched the series, I hadn't read any of the books when the first season came out. In fact, I had a kind of funny experience where I was told the books suck by the only person that I normally get good, honest reviews of books from. So it was well into Season 2 before I started looking anything up on the internet, and it was almost the beginning of Season 3 before I started reading A Game of Thrones itself. Now I'm very well versed in everything now, including lots of theory crafting, so it's a very different me, and I'm gonna totally talk about all the books, all the theories, everything, so spoiler alert. But let's talk about Jamie for a minute. When I first saw this, I saw Jamie push this kid out the window and I hated him. While I'm rewatching it with my girlfriend who has never seen the show, never read the books, she hated him too, and I'm like, oh, well, it's complicated. And if you notice, he didn't want to push him right away. He was all like saving him and like helping him up, and he thought that there was another way. And then Cersei's all like, yeah, da-da-da, and he's like, the things we do for love. And see, that's part of it. Jamie is this super complex character that doesn't know what he wants or what's going on. He's all messed up because everything that's ever been taught to him is pretty much wrong. He had a mentor for a very little point of time, Gerald Hightower. However, once him and Arthur Dayne were gone, after the King's Guard was broken, Barristan Selmy never really picked up that role, and as such, Jamie has been adrift pretty much his entire life. His dad's a jerk, his whole family life is screwed up, to put it mildly, and point blank, the only thing he's good at is killing people. Compare that to Anikin, who, yes, was raised a slave, not a rich boy, but again, messed up family life, never had a father figure, thought he was the best there was at just about everything, had innate talent, got his hand chopped off, and then thought he could make his own rules, love someone he wasn't supposed to love, and then, in the end, actually ended up saving the day when he turned on the person that he was supposed to be protecting. In fact, the person he was serving is who he ended up killing. I guess you could say Vader was an Emperor Slayer, the way Jamie was a King Slayer. Now, for all this to work, you need to realize that Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, was supposed to be the primary character of the trilogies put together, the original and the prequels, and that it was supposed to be his rise and fall. Well, to a certain extent, as much as there are many stories running, we are seeing the rise and fall of Jamie Lannister. And to a certain point, we even have a moment in reverse. Instead of Anakin dies and becomes Vader, we have the Kingslayer dies and becomes the Gold Hand. Of course, that happens not when he gets pushed into lava, but when his hand gets chopped off, which again is something they all share. For you to truly understand Vader and Jamie Lannister, though, you need to understand something George R.R. Martin himself said. He said, heroes aren't heroes all the time. On Tuesday, they might have been a dick. On Thursday, they might be a mass murdering villain. But on Wednesday, something happens and they rise above and they become the hero. And that's the way he thinks of it. He thinks of it that way because there's a lot of writers that do. And there's a certain amount of, in Star Wars, Luke is always the hero of the story. But he would have failed if it weren't for his father, who he turned. And again, Luke is the hero because he turned his father. But at the same time, Anakin's the hero because he's the one that threw Palpatine to his death. Now, having said that, time to put on your tinfoil hats. I honestly believe that Jamie will end up having to kill Cersei. In fact, I not only believe it, I think it almost has to be that way, both in book and in show. In book especially. Cersei has a whole prophecy that her younger brother will kill her, and she just assumes that's Tyrion. But I think it's Jamie, because Jamie already proved that he would put aside protecting his king, doing his duty, if it meant saving the people. And I think Cersei's going to go so mad, she's already pretty close to it, that she's going to be all burn them all too, or some equivalent thereof. And as such, his vows are going to come into play again. And as the Gold Hand, not the Kingslayer, he will become a Queenslayer as well. And a Kinslayer. And he'll probably end up taking the black by the end, and that's why it'll be a bittersweet ending. But at the end of the day, that falls very much in line with my Vader theory as well. Jamie needs someone to push him, though. He needs a Luke Skywalker to sit there and say, I still believe in you. And we'll see. I don't know who that's going to be. I wouldn't mind it being good old Jon Snow, but right now he's dead, so, not that that stops anyone in a fantasy story. So yeah, Jamie Lannister should definitely have a red lightsaber, because he's the equivalent of Vader. And the other thing that he does so well is, well, he's not a master planner. Neither was Vader either. Remember, even way back in the first movie, Star Wars, before we started calling it A New Hope, Tarkin, I should have smelled you. I knew someone had to be holding Vader's leash, because that's what Vader is. The Emperor's attack dog. The Emperor's main go-to weapon. And what is Jamie, if not Cersei's main go-to weapon? Well, and Tyrion's main go-to weapon, and would have been Aerys, except for he was being used as a hostage as well. So these characters have a lot in common, at least I think so. What do you think? How far off base do you think I am? And could you ever see yourself seeing Jamie as rising up to be the hero? Or did you think Anakin was in the end? Let me know what you think down below, and then of course like and share this video. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, because winter is coming, or well, sooner or later. I'm going to be doing more Game of Thrones stuff once it comes back on. For now, thank you for walking with me through the heart of these stories we tell. Have a good night, and thanks for watching.